Phineas and Ferb is a popular cartoon that aired on the Disney Channel, created by Dan Povenmire, known before as the guy who used to work on Family Guy, and Jeff Swampy Marsh. What isn't known is that both creators hate Disney monopolising it, and the show's original concept goes beyond just a children's cartoon. Once an episode was made about the antagonist, Dr. Heinz Doofenshmirtz's real intentions, that was made in secret by a good portion of the staff, who ran the risk of being fired without thinking twice. And some of the original voice actors also worked on the episode. The episode itself was leaked anonymously on a little trending cartoon forum board, with it seemingly uploaded there. That day my computer was making a weird annoying noise, like it was moments away from breaking down. My brother insisted that I examine the CPU or it would literally burn up. Anyway, I was browsing this forum, and when I noticed that there was a post about a lost episode of Phineas and Ferb, I was curious and downloaded it using the link the post provided. And while I was out visiting my grandparents, I let it install. By the time I'd got back home, it was 1 a.m, and as soon as I could, I started the episode. The title was called The Horrible Death of Phineas, and according to the summary, it was apparently an alternative episode to where they're caught and sent to the Smile Away camp. The episode started as normal, with both Phineas and Ferb having Isabel's troupe help them modify the family car into a flying machine, and Ferb was also building an airport tower for the car, but this time a huge crowd was there to witness the finished masterpiece. Meanwhile, Perry was called upon by Major Monogram to fight Dr. Doofenshmirtz, with Monogram explaining to Perry that Doofenshmirtz plans to destroy the entire tri-state area using an atomic bomb, and that he must be stopped. Perry goes to fight Doofenshmirtz. The Doctor explains how he's fed up with people treating him like an imbecile, and plans to kill everyone with a nuclear weapon. Suddenly he drew a pistol and began to fire against Perry, who was forced to run away considering he couldn't fight anyone who's holding an actual weapon, the gun being real as it made holes in the walls and ceiling. Perry's escape followed with a rather demented and cruel red-eyed Doofenshmirtz with an angered expression on his face. I was completely shocked by this episode's depiction of him, with it appearing as if he'd gone mad. The Doctor chases after Perry for a moment, and he almost gets himself killed, but luckily avoids the shot. When he reaches Phineas's backyard, both the brothers' invention is apparent. Soon Phineas walks to his mother to show her the flying car. However, in this moment, Doofenshmirtz begins to open fire, with Perry dodging the bullets, as a slow-motion scene plays of the Doctor accidentally shooting Phineas. And as the shot hit him, everything turned monochrome, and the background audio was changed to the song Hide and Seek by Imogen Heap. Phineas was now lying on the lawn in a pool of his own blood, but the blood was drawn in the same style as the show, with the video's colour returning. When Phineas was on the lawn, it was noticeable. It was a bright red pool of blood. The crowd glares horrified at Doofenshmirtz, with the scene cutting abruptly, after showing Phineas lying in a pool of his own blood, staring at the sky, focusing on his pupils as the life left them. It was here that Act 1 ended, with a few placeholder advertisements playing in the break period before Act 2 began with a funeral. Everything seemed extremely depressing. The mortuary was mostly black, with sunlight beaming through various stained glass windows, which gave the room a light. Candace, Linda, Lawrence, and Ferb all looked very forlorn, and the Explorer troupe were lamenting as well, alongside focusing on 2 moments of Isabella crying, with it sounding like her own voice actress was crying. Candace, in extreme grief, regrets about this while furiously hitting Phineas's coffin, crying that this would not have happened if she had tried to catch them. Act 2 then cuts abruptly to black, with no placeholder stock footage that appears like before, as Act 2 begins with the text 3 days later. The house is shown from outside, but the weather is cloudy and gloomy. Candace is in her room, extremely stressed, with a rigid smile on her face, as she hangs a rope on the ceiling, whilst humming the Beatles song Yellow Submarine. Soon Jeremy enters the house through the backyard and goes into the kitchen, and after offering his condolences to Linda, he asks her where Candace is. Linda happily tells him that she's upstairs. However, once he enters her room, she is shocked to see that Candace has hung herself having died a few minutes ago. Jeremy takes down the corpse, and just as Linda enters the room to see if everything is alright, after seeing this she screams, "Jeremy, how could you?" thinking he had choked her daughter to death. After that it cuts to a scene of both Phineas' parents and Ferb, and all the other characters that were shown to be in a state prison, with Doofenshmirtz being executed in an electric chair, with each of the characters having twisted smiles on their faces. The doctor begs for mercy, but Monogram simply orders to proceed with the execution. Perry, with a sick, twisted grin on his face, switches on the chair, and right before his death, images are shown of real images from an old Polaroid camera. The images depicted a man wearing a lab coat and a little girl playing in a park. Although the actors didn't resemble Doofenshmirtz or his daughter Vanessa, it clearly depicted them, alongside other family photos along the same lines, interspersed with graphic images of gore. As the screen played out, going back and forth between the happy images and violence, it was so gruesome it almost made me vomit. Doofenshmirtz then finally dies in a brutal way, electrocuted on a slow but lethal voltage to prolong his suffering. At the end, Ferb simply states, "Irony is cruel, but not as cruel as hell." The episode ended with Doofenshmirtz's body being thrown onto a pile of decaying corpses, among Jeremy's fresh corpse, with there being no end credits. The next morning I looked for the episode. Google, among other unrelated search results, showed the same form. However, the users that posted the episode was now banned, and the file possibly no longer exists.